Hello, my fellow minor league nerds, and welcome to our newest franchise history series episode that will look at the Stamford team that played under two different names in the Class B Colonial League from 1947 to 1949. World War II had a major impact on minor league baseball. In 1941, there were 41 leagues in the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues, the governing body of minor league baseball at the time. That number fell to 31 in 1942, dropping to only 12 in 1945. After the war ended, the number of leagues grew to 43 in 1946, jumping up to 52 in 1947. One of the new leagues formed that year was the Class B Colonial League. Class B was the fourth level of the minors at the time. The league was formed on January 5, 1947 at the Roger Smith Hotel in Stamford, Connecticut, with Ted Laviano leading the charge. He was a non-practicing attorney and the general manager of the Williamsport Grays of the Eastern League in 1946. 6 teams were awarded located in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York. One of the Connecticut teams was the Stamford Bombers, with the others being located in Bridgeport and Waterbury. The Massachusetts team was located in Springfield, while Poughkeepsie and Laviano's hometown of White Plains were the homes of the New York clubs. Springfield and White Plains were unable to get territorial waivers from nearby established clubs and were replaced by New London, Connecticut and Port Chester, New York. The first president of the league was former football star Ken Strong, who is a member of the College and Pro Football Halls of Fame. He was no stranger to minor league baseball, having played 3 seasons from 1929 to 1931, hitting .331 in 366 games during his career. In 1930, he hit 41 home runs while playing with the Hazleton Mountaineers in the New York-Pennsylvania League, now the Eastern League. Rick Lancelotti equaled that number in 1979, with the two still holding the record to this day. It was hoped that Strong's name would bring more attention to the league. He would resign from the post following the 1947 season and was replaced by the league's secretary, John Scalzi Jr. The season was to begin on May 7th, meaning the teams had less than 4 months to fill their rosters and upgrade, or in some cases, build their ballparks. When the season began, the league did not have a business plan, and most ballparks were unfinished and rushed into service. The Bombers were owned by Lou Henellis and Stanley Moore, 2 New York City entrepreneurs. Henellis, who had a keen eye for talent, was a former ball player at the City College of New York and also played 5 minor league seasons at that point. Most of their players came from the semi-pro Twilight League in Stamford, as well as New York City colleges. The Bombers were the only team that had no stadium issues. They played at Mitchell Stadium, owned by local businessman Ted Mitchell, with the ballpark seating 5,000. According to future NBA Commissioner J. Walter Kennedy, who wrote a column called Splinters at the time, Mitchell Field was in terrible shape. The league set a salary of $3,600 a month, about $52,150 today, with the roster size being fixed at 17 players per team. When the league was formed, Stamford was a manufacturing city with a population of just over 74,000 and hadn't seen a professional team since 1888. Henellis and Moore hired former major leaguer Zeke Bonora, who played in 6 seasons with the White Sox, Senators, Giants, and Cubs to lead the team, hoping his name would attract more fans. They were scheduled to open their season on the road against the Waterbury Timers, with the game actually being postponed due to rain. They eventually played their first game at home on May 9th against the Timers. Stamford Mayor Charles E. Moore got the festivities started by throwing out the first pitch while snow was falling. They defeated the Timers 16-5 in front of 600 fans. Scotty Koprowski of the Bombers hit the league's first home run, sending one high and far over the center field fence. The Northeast experienced a wet and cold spring that year, the wettest in years, which severely affected the early part of the season. Each team was scheduled to play 130 games, but due to all the rainouts early in the season, they only played an average of 120. Hitting during the early part of the season was dominant due to the very poor pitching in the league, with many games seeing double-digit scores for both teams. In the middle of June, the Bombers were in third place, 4.5 games behind the league-leading Poughkeepsie Giants, while holding a 19-17 record. A month later, on July 10th, they still found themselves in third place, but this time they were 2 games back of the Giants with a 34-25 record. The Timers were in second place, a half game behind Poughkeepsie. They ended the season in third with a 67-61 record. The Timers went on a tear the last 2 months of the season, finishing in first with an 83-38 record. The top 4 teams in the league qualified for the playoffs. The Bombers faced off against the Timers, pulling off an incredible upset, defeating them in 7 games. In the other playoff series, the New London Raiders took down Poughkeepsie in 7 games, setting up the Governor's Cup. Stamford went on to win the league's first championship by defeating New London in 5 games. As the champions, the Bombers players each received $30 apiece, not the payout the league was hoping for when the league was formed in January. Fans just did not turn out for postseason games. Being located so close to New York actually hurt the Bombers. Most local baseball fans were already big league fans, following one of New York's 3 major league teams. Even though television was still in its infancy, those who had TV sets could sit home and watch the Yankees, Dodgers, or Giants instead of going out to watch Class B baseball. This led to the Bombers only drawing 28,697 fans that season, which was the third most in the league. As a team, they led the league with a .300 average. Zeke Bonora, who was a huge fan favorite in Stamford, finished second in the league with a .385 average, hitting 17 homers while driving in 100 RBIs in 99 games. Vito DeVito, that's his actual name, was one of the first local players targeted by Henellis and Moore. He hit .324 with 14 homers and 82 RBIs while leading the league with 128 runs scored. He had previous semi-pro and professional experience before signing with the Bombers and was a standout in both football and baseball at Stamford High. He began his professional career at the age of 17 with the Binghamton Triplets of the Eastern League in 1943. In 1946, he played for the Amsterdam Rugmakers of the Canadian American League, with both teams being affiliated with the New York Yankees. He was released after 31 games in 1946 when his manager speculated that he would never make it past AAA, thus saving the Yankees from having to pay his $2,500 bonus. He missed the 1944 and 1945 seasons due to military service, serving under General Patton in Europe. While playing for the Bombers, he attended classes at Manhattan College during the day, then commuted afterwards playing games with the Bombers at night. Dan Perlmutter was one of the most sought-after college players on the East Coast after hitting .531 at the City College of New York, hitting .370 in 95 games for the Bombers. He led the team with 40 stolen bases and 146 hits. Sid Schacht was the best pitcher on the team, ending with an 18-7 record and a 2.94 ERA. He led the league with 180 strikeouts in 190 innings pitched. Schacht, Bonora, DeVito, and Perlmutter were all selected to the All-Star team, which saw the league's All-Stars defeat the Waterbury Timers, who were in first place at the deadline, 4-1 in front of about 1,000 fans. DeVito hit a solo home run in the ninth, which was the only earned run in the game. The Bombers actually made some minor league history in that first season. We all know that Jackie Robinson broke the Major League color barrier on April 15, 1947. He also broke the minor league color barrier on April 18, 1946, when he took the field for the Montreal Royals during their opener in Jersey City. Throughout 1947, only 17 non-white players saw any playing time in the minors during the season. 6 of those players played for Stamford. The first was Johnny Schoolboy Haith, who joined the team on July 24th. He was a 19-year-old right-hander who came highly recommended from the Albany, New York area. His first start for the Bombers came on July 25th against the New London Raiders. He did pretty well through 6 innings, only giving up 3 runs. But things fell apart after that when he walked 9 in the 7th and 8th innings, taking the loss with the Bombers falling 10-1. He was released following the loss, mainly due to being so young and inexperienced. 21-year-old Roy Lee Jr., who was signed at the same time as Haith, made his pitching debut for the Bombers on July 30th. He had been pitching with the Durham Eagles of the Negro Southern Association. In that first game, he faced the Waterbury Timers, giving up 9 runs in 5 2/3 innings. Like Haith, control was an issue for him throughout the game. He did much better during a relief outing on August 1st against the Poughkeepsie Giants. He made his second start on August 3rd against the Portchester Clippers, facing off against Bill Solon. Solon was known as a guy who wouldn't hesitate pitching inside, close to a batter's chin. He did that to Lee in the 7th, hitting him in the head. When Lee faced him in the 8th, Zeke Benora called for him to intentionally hit Solon, even yelling from the dugout within earshot of the umpire, "If you don't hit Solon in the head, you're fired." Reluctantly, Lee plunked him, even though he did not think Solon hit him intentionally. Portchester's manager, Al Barilari, did not fault Lee for hitting Solon, instead placing the blame on Benora. Lee gained his only victory on August 20th, defeating Portchester 8-2 in a 6-inning rain-shortened game. He also saw some innings during the Bombers' playoff run. Another pitcher who was signed was 6'6" right-hander Al Preston, who had played for the New York Black Yankees. He made his Colonial League debut on August 6th in a game against the Waterbury Timers, only giving up 5 hits. But he received no run support, with the Bombers fielders committing 8 errors, seeing them lose 6-0. His next outing was 4 days later in Game 2 of a doubleheader, blanking Bridgeport 4-0 while only giving up 3 hits. In the regular season, he went 2-3 with a 4.59 ERA. He earned another victory during their postseason run. He returned to the Bombers in 1948, going 1-3 in 6 games. Also in August, 3 Puerto Rican players were signed. They were shortstop Carlos Santiago and pitchers Fred Shepard and Andre Puyiza. All 3 appeared in the same game together on August 13th in what we believe was the first time multiple Puerto Rican players appeared together in the same minor league game. Santiago was one of Puerto Rico's finest players, having previously played for the New York Cubans. He was just what Benora needed to round out what was already a good infield. In his first game, he contributed a hit in Al Preston's 4-0 victory over the Bridgeport Bees on August 10th. He returned to the Bombers in 1948 and 1949, hitting .286 and .294. 6', 200-pound Fred Shepard, who had previously pitched for the Atlanta Black Sox, got the start in that August 13th game, with the Bombers facing off against the Poughkeepsie Giants. He went 8 solid innings, only giving up 2 runs. Andre Puyiza, a left-hander from New York City, came in to relieve him, giving up 1 run that resulted from a walk and a few wild pitches, with the Giants going on to win the game 3-0. Puyiza worked in relief the next night against Portchester in another Bombers loss, being released the following day. Shepard returned to Stamford in 1948, appearing in 3 games. There did not appear to be any problems with the players or the fans in the Colonial League with accepting an integrated team. The players, no matter if they were white, black, or Latino, all played together to win games. Despite their success on the field, the Bombers accumulated pretty big debts in 1947. Pinellas and Moore tried everything to bring people to the park. In addition to signing exciting and talented players, they hosted circus acts, rodeos, boxing, and other events when the team was out of town, but nothing worked. To help pay off some of their debts, Perlmutter, along with DeVito and Schacht, were sold to the San Diego Padres of the Pacific Coast League for $15,000. First baseman and outfielder Ed Sudol, and pitcher Larry Covell, and catcher Charles Faunan, who had 9 consecutive hits on August 7th and 8th, were also sold to the Poughkeepsie Giants. The influx of cash did not stop the league from assuming control of the team after Moore and Pinellas defaulted on unpaid bills and taxes. It looked as if the team might fold, but they were saved by Ted Mitchell, owner of their ballpark, William Verono, the owner of a chain of movie theaters, and steel manufacturer Ed Ferrero. They renamed the team the Pioneers, retaining the managerial services of Zeke Bonora, who purchased 25% of the team. Before the start of the 1948 season, the Pioneers signed a working agreement with the Class D Mahanoy City Bluebirds of the North Atlantic League. It was a terrible season for the Pioneers, seeing them finish in last place with a 54-78 record, with their attendance dropping to 25,648. Once again, Zeke Bonora finished second in batting when he hit .383, 7 points behind Edward Kobelski of the Kingston Hubs. The Hubs were the New London Raiders in 1947, transferring to New Brunswick, New Jersey before the 1948 season, relocating to Kingston, New York on July 10th. Bonora led the league with 23 home runs. Sid Schacht, who was sold to San Diego following the 1947 season, refused to go there because he was taking care of his sick mother who lived in Brooklyn, commuting every day from her home to Stamford's game each night. He returned to the team for the 1948 season and went 7-8, finishing with a 2.09 ERA, the best in the league. After his mother passed away in the fall of 1948, he was sold to the Boston Red Sox and later appeared in 19 games in the majors with the St. Louis Browns and the Boston Braves. Following the 1948 season, Bonora sold his 25% of the team to Rocco Saleo, resigning as manager and returning to his native New Orleans. He returned to managing in 1949, leading the Kingston Ponies of the Class C Border League, serving there as player manager. He continued to manage in the minors through 1954. He was replaced by former Major League catcher Joe Glenn, who we discussed on our Martinsville Athletics episode. He missed 3 weeks in June when his kneecap was fractured after being hit by a line drive during batting practice on June 12th. On June 30th, with Herb Stein filling in for Glenn as manager, the Pioneers were in third place, 3 games back of the Bridgeport Bees, with the Bristol Owls, who moved to the Connecticut city from Port Chester before the season, in second place. Glenn returned to the team on July 3rd when the Pioneers were facing off against the Bridgeport Bees in a doubleheader. The first game saw a brawl between the two teams. Unfortunately, we were unable to find out any details on what caused it. We just found what the results of it were. Pitcher Sam Gaines of Stamford and Ollie Byers, the player manager for Bridgeport, were both suspended for 3 games. Stamford was fined $35, with Bridgeport being fined $20. Both umpires were fined an unspecified amount by the league for failing to discipline Glenn for bench jockeying. He was reprimanded, but not fined or suspended by the league. The Pioneers had a pretty good team that finished in second place with a 74-52 record, 6 games behind the Bristol Owls. Their attendance increased to 31,092, but was only the 4th best in the 6-team league. They were knocked out of the playoffs in the first round by the Bridgeport Bees in 7 games. The Bees fell to the Bristol Owls in the Governor's Cup 2-1. The Pioneers had the league's top 2 pitchers that season in 42-year-old Emil Moskowitz, who went 19-5 with an amazing 2.01 ERA, completing 22 of his 27 starts, as well as Ed Hrabsak, who went 19-7 with a 3.54 ERA. He set a league record on August 17th when he struck out 17 Poughkeepsie Giants, with the Pioneers winning the game 9-1. He finished the season with 234 strikeouts, breaking the record of 180 set by Sid Schacht in 1947. Their offense was led by James Callahan, who finished third in the league with a .337 average. He finished first with 107 RBIs, tied for first with teammate Scotty Kaprowski with 31 doubles, and finished second with 164 hits and 22 homers. Kaprowski finished fifth with a .332 average, hit 10 homers while driving in 99 RBIs. Danny Pavone led the league with 13 triples. On March 28, 1950, it was announced that the Stamford Pioneers would be moving to Paterson, New Jersey. Team co-owner Ted Mitchell, who owned their ballpark, Mitchell Field, asked to be let out of the verbal agreement he had with the team for use of the ballpark. A group had approached him about turning the site into a drive-in movie theater, which figured to be more lucrative for him as the team just didn't draw fans. The plan was for them to move into Hinchcliffe Stadium, which had been home to several Negro League ball clubs and most recently a minor league football team. The only problem was that the ballpark did not have lights, and all Colonial League games were played at night. On April 24th, just 8 days before the start of the season, it was announced that the team would be transferred to the western Connecticut city of Torrington because stadium lights would not be installed at Hinchcliffe before the season opener. They were purchased by Dick Cook, who renamed them the Braves. He was a Torrington area sports promoter who had always wanted to own a minor league team. He loved baseball and had been supporting several local semi-pro teams and wasn't concerned about losing money on the team. After purchasing the club, he set about assembling a team, signing Jim Gentile to serve as the team's general manager. Gentile held the same position in Stamford. The Braves are made up of a mix of high school players, young players working their way up, and veteran minor leaguers. Cook may not have been too concerned about losing money when he bought the team, but he appears to have lost way more on the venture than he ever expected. The team suspended operations on July 14th after losing $15,000 in just over 2 months. At the time of their suspension, they were in fourth place with a 33-32 record. On the same day the Braves suspended operations, the last place Bridgeport Bees did so as well, followed by the Waterbury Timers, meaning the league lost half of its teams. 2 days later, on July 16th, league president John Scalzi Jr. announced that the league was finished. Bad weather and the growth of baseball on television were blamed for the league's failure. Neither Stamford nor Torrington have hosted another professional baseball team since. Well, my fellow minor league nerds, that does it for this episode. We want to thank you for your continued support. It is greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel or the podcast platform of your choice to be notified whenever a new episode is released. And until next time, stay safe and be sure to never stop supporting minor league baseball and never stop learning about minor league baseball history.